I'm Zach Stone, historian of the 80s. I'm here to tell you all about what happened, what went down in Chinatown. Alright, let's see. With the advent of MTV and whatnot, a lot of bands didn't do so hot because they were, frankly, they're idiots. Case in point, Journey versus Rick Springfield, you know. Let's see, Don't Stop Believin' was a big single, and frankly it's a better song than Rick Springfield's Jesse's Girl, but because Rick Springfield is kind of a pretty boy, his song got played about twice as much as Journey's. I mean, I love the guys, but they're ugly. They're ugly dudes. Movies. Some great gems in the 80s. You got The Goonies. Personal favorite of mine, The Goonies.
Stand up.
The Goonies was about a bunch of kids who their homes were getting taken over by greedy land developers trying to make a golf course, right? So naturally, they looked for pirate gold, and I mean, you can imagine the kind of adventures they get themselves into. Pirate gold searching is always going to be full of perils and whatnot. And these little kids, it's just a great movie, great film. Some other classics. 1980s. Weird Science. I don't know if y'all have heard of that movie. Weird Science is about two nerds, computer nerds, who cannot find a date, so they decide to make their own women out of a Barbie doll and some wacky science.
Me and Zachary are going to tell you about some of the greatest movies in the 80s. Star Wars. Yeah, alright, so here's how it starts off with. There's a ship and it's like flying through the space, and then the Star Destroyer, this big triangle thing, it's like shooting the ship and then there's C-3PO and he's like, oh, we're gonna die, and then there's R2-D2 and he's like, yeah, exactly like that, and then Princess Leia's like, oh, I can't give him the Death Star plans because I have, she puts him in R2-D2 and then R2-D2's like, alright,
help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope.
Alright, so then they get in an escape pod, shoots down to the earth where it's found by some Jawas, and then it's found by this guy named Luke, and he's like, but I wanted to go to Toshi Station to buy some power converters.
Now, Luke, we need you here on the water farm.
To drink blue milk. Okay, then Luke ends up meeting this guy, old Ben Kenobi.
Ben Kenobi.
He walks around because Luke gets taken by the Tusken Raiders. So after that happens, Luke gets taken, and then Ben's like, and he makes a noise, and then they all run away, and then he's like, this is your father's lightsaber. Your father was a Jedi. Okay. Alright, so then he meets this guy named Han Solo. Han Solo's like, I don't believe in the Force. And then his friend Chewbacca. And then they go on some adventures in the Millennium Falcon. Like, and then they shoot like some TIE fighters. They get chased and they go. And then, I don't really. What? Then I think it goes.
Darth Vader?
Empire Strikes Back. Wait, he chokes some people, right?
He chokes them with the Force.
Yeah.
Oh,
and they destroy the Death Star.
Death Star.
That's important.
With the use of the Force.
Yeah.
Very end.
He's like, the boy of very end.
He turns off his fields, man.
Yeah.
The Force.
The Force. He doesn't even use the computer. The Force
goes, and then goes and hits the Death Star.
Then it goes.
And the Death Star's gone. Saves the day.
And that was the end of the whole Star Wars trilogy.
So.
Wait, and then there were the Ewoks in the third one, I know. And they were like mini Wookiees. He's fighting, and then they fall. Yeah, and then there's the thing, and then it's over and then when he fights Darth Vader, Darth Vader's like,
and he falls down,
and he cuts off his hand, and then he's like,
cuts off his hand.
Luke, I am your father. No! And he falls, and then he's like holding on to his thing.
And then they come up with the Millennium Falcon, and they come in, and he jumps on the Millennium Falcon.
And they save him.
Yeah.
Alright, and then in Return of the Jedi, you find out some important stuff. Ewoks are short. That's one thing.
Turns out, Princess Leia and Luke are actually brother and sister.
Brother and sister. So that kiss they had in
that
the
was
first...
a little weird.
In Empire Strikes Back.
Weird.
The kiss they had in Empire Strikes Back. And he's like, but then...
Freezes him in
carbonite. And then they choke him. And
pretty much that's all that happens. And at the end, there's a big party.
Oh, yeah. And they play on
Ewoks and they play on
Stormtroopers' heads.
Yeah.
When he takes off the mask?
It's not him. It's a different guy.
It's a different guy. The voice.
Same guy from Sandlot, if you remember.
Really?
Yeah, the blind guy from Sandlot.
Was that in the 80s?
No, it wasn't. Which brings me to the greatest trilogy in movie history, the Indiana Jones trilogy. Starts out, Colombian rainforest. Indiana Jones is looking for a gold idol in a creepy Mayan cave. Goes in, classic scene, switches out the idol for a bag of sand. Boom! He's done it. But wait. There's a low rumbling, he looks up and there's a huge boulder running after him. He runs, jives across the pit, barely makes it, has to slide under a sliding door, forgets his hat, grabs real fast, and he's out. But who's on the other side? Bad guys with all their native buddies. Turns out the Nazis are also looking for the Ark, which, makes for some trouble, because Nazis are bad. So they eventually find it, right? And the Nazis want it, and they take it, and they open it, but, shouldn't mess with the Ark of the Covenant. It's a pretty powerful thing, so they all get their faces sucked off. Get their faces sucked off. It's awesome. And I don't remember what happens in the end. Who cares? Because that was the best scene ever. Smurfs. Little blue guys. Don't know where they came from. Don't know where they're going. All I know is I love them. I love them. I like watching them. I like eating cereal in the morning while I'm watching them. It's awesome. What else we got in the 80s? Michael Jackson hit it big. We all know about Michael Jackson. Billie Jean is not my girl. He's all like dancing and stuff, and he invented the moonwalk. Which is pretty big. Became a big dance craze. Eddie Van Halen played on Thriller, which was pretty sweet, because Eddie Van Halen's pretty awesome. Which brings me to Van Halen. Van Halen! One of the most... You're the greatest band ever. Greatest band ever. Van Halen. With David Lee Roth. Forget Sammy Hagar. No one likes him. Oh man. And that's all that really happened in the 80s. So, pretty much it. Nothing else really happened. So, except for Back to the Future. Back to the Future was a great film. Marty McFly is a high school kid. Somehow gets magically transported in his magic DeLorean.